So if we're moving to the oceans, where's the power going to come from for all this infrastructure?
Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendan Traxler.
It's one of the questions that we talk about is, how do you power an underwater habitat or underwater data center or whatever? And since I've been in this little series here on dreaming about the future, and we're talking about what the potential future would look like as we move into the oceans, whether above or below, you have to power things. And there's a lot of benefits that the ocean offers. And so let's talk about a few of those. There's obviously solar. The nice thing about solar on the ocean is you've got unobstructed view of the sun, and you've got a lot of surface you could float solar panels on, and that's one option that I'm sure some people will take advantage of. In most of the floating designs, the floating houses, whether it be Arctide, ArcPad, Ocean Builders, other companies like that, they've all got solar panels on top of them because it's easy real estate and you're going to have great sun. That doesn't necessarily always work for underwater, but as we've talked in previous episodes and stuff, that is still a potential possibility, but unlikely. And another option would be, I guess we're not so much an option, but the aspect of OTEC, ocean thermal energy, underwater is probably the most likely. And so as we're growing these underwater habitats, the thing with OTEC is you have to have usually a larger platform for that. But as we're building underwater habitats, we would have an energy, basically, here on land, we've got a whole entire, whether it's a nuclear power plant or it's some energy station, power station, you would have the same thing underwater. You would have habitats dedicated to that their whole purpose would be the generation and the storage with batteries and so forth of energy to distribute to other underwater habitats or businesses or whatever. Or even back to the land. If you're close enough to that, there'd be a great opportunity to put your energy underwater, because once again, like we talked about with data centers, it's a cooling issue. You can use the surrounding water to cool those that heats up, and electricity and energy in itself is a warm exercise and activity. So you got that benefit as well. Plus, again, it's protected, and that's something you want to do as well. You don't want your energy areas being open to the public. So I foresee different habitats spread out, especially if you have like a colony of different habitats. And that's one of the things that Martin with Colomar Park and I have talked about, is different habitats coming together and working together and then joining together. And you would have one that distributed, food, and you did all the food stores and stuff along those lines, where one was just for living and one was just for energy. And so you might see a situation like that where OTEC or hydrothermal or a mixture of all those comes into play. I think it's fun to think about how that is. And so it's one of those things where when we talk about all these different designs, maybe your design isn't the best for living. Maybe it's not, ASC. Some people may not like the designs for ASC. So we switch to a purely infrastructure support standpoint where it's just data centers, energy creation, energy storage, and stuff along those lines, where there's somebody that's got a more aesthetically pleasing habitat for people to live in. There's a lot of possibilities out there for people that they're looking into the marine, the blue economy, I guess, space, for us to generate and store energy for land, underwater, or floating on the surface. So this is a short one, And the question, obviously, that I always throw out there is, what do you foresee? How do you foresee energy being supplied, produced 20 years from now to underwater habitats, underwater businesses, floating businesses that may be out there in the world?